Hey everyone, Brian Von VA back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we've got another continuation. What stunt did your D&D players pull that completely derailed the campaign? Part 4, revived from the subreddit. Small derailings are fairly common, but on occasion the campaign derails so badly that it finds a new track. And sometimes when this happens, the DM decides to go along. How did this happen, and how drastically did the direction change? I'm the DM for a campaign where the population is confined to a small part of the world, and was suffering of overpopulation because of it. Originally, the idea I had for the campaign was for them to get out of the confined space and free everyone else to save the population, but in the first session, it got derailed pretty badly. It started when the players went to a city I hadn't fully prepared to get a blacksmith to make some armor from a weird strong metal they found. Unsurprisingly, it was expensive, and the players didn't want to spend all of their money for a single set of armor, and so the smith offered them a deal. I came up with the idea of there being a large crime organization in the city that has been collecting money and other valuables from some merchants around the city, and the crime organization had stolen a large batch of another rare metal from the smith. So the smith told the players that they could go get his metal back for a huge discount. The players obviously did it and got the discount, but they had to wait for a week in the city for the armor to get done. Logically, the crime organization would suspect that the smith had something to do with it, and so they would send a few people over. The players want the armor to get finished. They know the crime organization will likely send someone, and so they offered to protect the smith while he works on the armor. The idea with this was that the players would do something against the crime organization and eventually remove the crime organization from the city, after which they would have the city's gratitude and be able to continue the main quest. Unsurprisingly, the players had a better idea. They wanted to take over the crime organization for themselves. They turned the campaign into an evil campaign, where they want to start with taking over the city, then turning it into its own empire, conquer the lands, and come up with a solution for the overpopulation that they'd be able to use to control the entire population. The next few sessions had torture, stashing peoples to bags of holding, a bunch of death, and ended with them killing the leader of the crime organization's leader and all witnesses. In that time, they had learned that the leader of the crime organization happened to be the beloved mayor of the city, and so killing him will have quite a few consequences. At this point, I have no idea what will happen. The players have turned the campaign completely around, and to be honest, I like its new direction. I'm letting the players go along with their world domination plans without changing the direction much, but I won't make it easy for them. It's gonna be a fun campaign. TLTR. I made what was supposed to be a small side quest, but it turned out the players liked evil, and turned that small side quest into a large evil conquer the world quest. I killed the big bad evil guy at level 1 on accident. I was a warlock and we were just starting out. My patron needed a sacrifice. My character, being a pacifist, found some abandoned bird eggs and tossed them to the ground as a sacrifice. Splat! Turns out, not bird eggs. Actually, the eggs were going to hatch into evil dragon twins. But no, splat. I once was DMing a one-shot for some of my friends. I don't remember names of NPCs, but still. Some old man sold the party information about a location of a sunken ship of legendary orc pirate, who once successfully raided Empire's capital city, but vanished with his fleet for good afterwards. The idea of the one-shot was basically treasure hunting. Once the players got to an island around the area where the ship should be, they decided that they should get themselves a ship to get around. After hearing the price of a small ship, they decided not to buy it, but to steal it. Somehow, they succeeded, though out of 5 players, only 1 knew anything about ships, so they had a tough time steering that thing around. About the same time, I threw in some side quests, and party took one of them. They had to climb one of the mountain peaks where an abandoned dragon lair was located to retrieve some dead hero items. Few decades ago, a dragon was living in that lair, but he was killed by a barbarian. She unfortunately died in the process. So my players get to the lair, and it turned out that a mountain troll occupied that cave. They weren't sure if they can kill it, so they came up with quite a solution. A player who was a druid that game asked me before the session start if I could modify his good berry spell a bit. He wanted to turn those berries into very potent marijuana. I thought it sounds fun, so I allowed it. So the troll situation, I don't remember how exactly, but our ice wizard, druid, and druid of the weed, as he called himself, made an object that basically as a remote control bong. So one of the druids guided weed smoke into the cave with a troll. I thought that they wanted to weaken up the troll, so I allowed it. But then one of the players, Ranger to be specific, suggested they befriend the troll while it's high as everyone supports his idea, while I get my fallen jaw back in its place. So they continued to smoke the cave for a week, while our barbarian hunted deers and wolves to feed the troll. Why the barbarian, you ask? Well, the troll liked him the most, cause barbarian had the same int as troll, something like -2 or -3. They spend so much time trying to get troll into liking them, that I said, fuck it, and made troll and barbarian best friends forever. It would only follow barbarian, defend him, and so on. Troll didn't understand anyone at all, but he would do some simple commands from barbarian, like attack, carry, stay, etc. After that, the party said, why hunt for some pirate treasures if you can make your own? So they embarked onto a series of raids and ship battles where Troll aboard was the main event. So here it is, Legend of a Troll Pirate. Unfortunately, that game died shortly after. So, in this story, I was the DM. You see, this was my second game, and it is taking place in this unknown place to the PC somewhere in Colmesa, which is my world. In Colmesa, there is a single mountain that all of the dwarves and orcs live on. The orcs work for the dwarves in the mines, getting iron, which they were selling to nearby cities. You see, instead of living inside the mountain, the dwarves lived on the outside of the mountain. Meet Tara, a drunken old wild magic sorcerer who we had made a custom wild magic table for. Session 1. The players, after waking up in this strange place, fight a sentient carriage, and after realizing they were out of their depth, ran into a nearby church to escape from the carriage. I set a timer for the carriage to break through, and once it did, Tara cast Mirror Image, Wild Magic Surge. 40. Avalanche. The closest mountain to you has an avalanche occur. If you are on a mountain, you better start running. The closest mountain to them was the mountain the dwarves were living on. This one Wild Magic Surge crushed every single living dwarf, and also suffocated almost all of the orcs and half-orcs alive who were mining for the dwarves. Summary. Wild Magic Sorcerer exterminates 2 races with 1 Wild Magic Surge and derailed the entire campaign. I'm currently running Horde of the Dragon Queen for 3 IRL friends, Human, Dragonborn, and Loxodon, we shall call them. Each week I ask for feedback and I'm open to suggestions for what to include in the following week to keep things interesting. This week, Human said in passing he never gets much of a chance to use charisma saving throws. Now, I'm new to DMing and never thought about this, so I googled around for some inspiration and found some. In a nutshell, it said have your player caught and tortured, have them roll charisma saving throws to see if they yield the information. Well, we're on the road to Watersdeep, and the next event was Stranded. For anyone who doesn't know it, essentially a merchant and his guards are stuck under their wagon while hobgoblins are looting / attacking them. So I thought this would be perfect. I upped the scale, literally to 25 hobgoblins. I'm playing with experienced players who have min-maxed their characters. My idea is essentially to have Human fall unconscious, then dragged off to the ruins where they store their loot. Here, the Human would be tortured into explaining why a group of so strong are guarding a mundane caravan group. They assume it must have priceless cargo. Loxodon and Dragonborn would find him, save him, and a mini-boss would turn up. They'd kill it and get some loot. End of. Well, that's not what went down. My goblins couldn't touch Human as he has 22 AC, a story for a different time, so I altered the plan on the spot and targeted the weakest among them, Loxodon. After no less than 19 hobgoblin deaths, they successfully managed to down and drag him to the fort. Human and Dragonborn plus 4 guards recuperated and gave chase to the fort. They burst into the ruins and slayed a few more hobgoblins and eventually find Loxodon, who has a sword to his throat by a hobgoblin. Loxodon didn't even start the torture session. He spilled the beans about the treasure, but said it was the front caravans who had it, the cultists. He persuaded the goblin to take him to their boss. The boss comes in with backup, ready to engage, but conversation started. Loxodon proceeds to tell this great, huge hobgoblin warlord their entire mission to date, including the stolen treasure the cultists were carrying. He attempts to persuade the warlord that the treasure in their caravan is only things like ale, birds and exotic wood, which is nothing compared to what was stolen. I say this warlord has little patience and desires a great treasure to compensate for all his slain warriors, so you need to roll high. Otherwise, he'll just take your head to avenge his fallen. Nat 20. Warlord is intrigued and hears him out more. Loxodon tells them the route, which caravans to attack, and approx guards. He then proceeds to tell them they could work together and both win, as the current big bad killed his son, so he only wants vengeance. I say roll persuasion, as you have just killed a bunch of his men and isn't like to trust you. 19. Alright, the warlord believes him, but tells him he needs reassurance there will be no betrayal, so he's keeping the 4 guards as collateral. Loxodon is lawful good, so I know this is a no-go for him. He tells the warlord there's no way he will accept this. I get ready to roll initiative, but then volunteers to stay himself in their place. Again, rolls for persuasion. Nat frickin' 20. So now, the deal is made. Loxodon, human, and Dragonborn have some sweet RP. The kind of this isn't last goodbye, but it is type scenario. Human, Dragonborn, and guards leave as Loxodon and Warlord go to planning. So now I have a hobgoblin army planning to attack the caravan lead by a vicious warlord and a follower of Bahamut Loxodon. I need to rewrite the rest of the chapter to homebrew to accommodate and run 2 different locations in one sitting, resulting in everyone getting to the same end point. I love it! I'm already picturing quite a bloody battle coming up that will really test characters both physically and mentally. But goddamn, tonight's episode was supposed to be a chilled, relaxed filler episode for part of the 60-day trip. Oh, and the Loxodon is now neutral good. What's up everyone, Brian Von VA here, wishing you all well and hoping you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, then leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and ring the bell for notifications on when we post, and make sure to spread us far and wide to get these vids poppin'. If you'd like to submit a story, feel free to join our subreddit r/MrRipper, and if you want to join any TTRPG groups or find them, go on over to our group finder Discord. Links are in the description below. Using a help action, you can come join me over on Twitter and YouTube at Brian Von VA, where I voice your D&D characters, make voice actor videos, and stream lots of games. I always try to end my videos with some positivity or realistic optimism in mind. Today is an important one and close to home: derailment. The world is derailed right now, and we need to get things back on track. One way to do so is to maintain communication, talking to friends, family, your spouse, even randomers in the comments, or professionals if you need them. You never know how much it helps to vent, to seek help, or to even say hi randomly. One hello may save a life. You never know about it, you never need to know about it, but just seeing a small gesture of kindness is enough to do a lot. So show some love in the comments tonight. All the love. See you next time. Bye for now.